Another application of quadratic equations. In this one, we'll look at revenue, specifically the revenue in millions of dollars that a company makes for a particular product it sells in the U.S. T years after 2016 can be found with the equation r equals negative 2/5 t squared plus 11/5 t plus 22. Before we go on to the questions, let's just make sure we understand this formula. There are two variables in this formula. There is r and there's t. T is defined in the problem as the years after 2016. So we've got years involved using the variable t. R isn't really defined in the sentence directly, but it is defined by what this equation is said to calculate. And it says the revenue, and if you think about R for revenue, can be found with this equation. So you're actually calculating revenue here in millions of dollars. So one of the things to just be aware of is before you work with an equation that involves a real-world scenario, make sure you understand the variables. It'll make the rest of the problem much easier. All right, let's look at the particular questions here. It says estimate the revenue. So we're trying to estimate revenue, so we're going to calculate R in 2021. Well, T is years after 2016, so T is going to be the difference between 2021 and 2016, which ends up being 5 years. So we're going to put 5 in for T, so negative 2/5 times 5 squared plus 11/5 times 5 plus 22. This is a word problem, so you're welcome to throw this entire statement into your calculator and have the calculator calculate it for you. Or you could go ahead and do it by hand just for practice with fractions. I'll just show that out real quick. Negative 2/5 times 25, always square first. Now when you go to multiply a fraction by a whole number, write the whole number over 1. So that's 5 over 1, and this 25 is going to be over 1 as well, plus 22. And remember, when you're multiplying fractions, you can cross cancel. So this 5 cancels, leaving 1. The 5 here goes into 25 twice. So that makes our life a little bit easier when we go to get this calculation. We're going to get negative 2 times, whoops, I made a calculation mistake there. 5 goes into 25 5 times, not 2 times. So luckily I caught that. Negative 2 times 5 is negative 10, plus 11 over 1 is just 11, plus 22. Add that across, we will get 23. Two main things to note when you're doing this by hand: always do the exponents before you do multiplication, and then with fractions, think about any whole numbers being over 1 when you're calculating. So the revenue ends up being 23, but it's not just 23, it's 23 millions of dollars in 2021. So if I'm writing this answer out, I would say in 2021, the company's revenue was, or will be, because we're not in 2021 yet, $23 million. In the next question, we're asked about when the revenue will be something. Specifically, when was the revenue earned from this product $14 million? So in this case, we're given R. Remember, R is in millions, so R here would actually be 14. We don't throw in those extra zeros because in our last example we saw R equals 23 means 23 million, so I'm just using the 14. When implies find time. So let's figure out when that would be. So I'm going to take this equation, set R equal to 14. So 14 equals negative 2/5 t squared plus 11/5 t plus 22. Now I want to get 0 on one side, so I'm going to subtract the 14 from both sides. 22 plus 14, or minus 14 rather, is positive 8. Now this equation, we want to factor the trinomial on the right, but there's two issues. There's fractions, and the trinomial starts with a negative. We can take care of those both together if we want. To deal with the fractions, we could multiply both sides by 5 because we have a common denominator of 5. But if I do one little thing to 5, if I make it a -5 that I'm multiplying both sides by, that will also eliminate the negative in front of the squared term. So I'm going to do both at once. So it doesn't do anything to the 0 because anything times 0 is 0. A -2/5 times a -5 just gives me positive 2t squared. The 5's cancel, but it changes the negative, changes the sign of the 11. And then 8 times -5 is -40. Again, it does two things for us. It gets rid of the fractions, but the negative part makes it so this is a much easier trinomial to factor. Now, it still does require either trial or error or the AC method. You can use either one. I'm just going to throw in and use trial and error here first. 40 will factor to 8 and 5. If I use the 8 over here, I'm going to get -16, and the positive 5 right here. -16 plus 5 is -11t, so I'm in good shape there. Then set each of those factors equal to 0. Again, you are welcome to use the AC method. I didn't show it there, but it's your choice. Whichever factoring technique you prefer, you may use. Just show your final factored result. So on this first equation, I subtracted 5, I divided up the 2, so I get t equals -5/2. In the second one, I just have to add 8 to both sides. Remember, we want to check to see that these answers make sense. What we're doing in this particular formula is we're talking about a number of years after 2016. If we're going forward from 2016, we have to go forward in time. We cannot have a negative time. So the only answer that makes sense in the scenario is to have a positive time. So 8 years since 2016. So 2016 plus 8 would be in 2024. So in 2024, the revenue will be 14 million. Now, if you wanted to check your answer on this, you could certainly go ahead and put the 8 back into the original equation. So r equals 2/5 times 8 squared plus 11/5 times 8 plus 22. And just use a calculator. Again, this is an application. Throw that into in a calculator. It'll take you less than 30 seconds, and you can confirm that revenue of 14 million.